fair, press some hand, let's get in the car, I said. She grabbed my hand, girls rescue, met the bar, witness said. Tears fled the head, I'm weak, not dead, she tweet, I guess she confessed. She thinking less, not drinking less, bathroom says, best to get spontaneous, our stereotype, put to rest tonight. Imagine, believe, and achieve, it works. Skyline as a rise like fireworks.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to this edition of the After the Storm, our OKC Thunder post-game analysis live stream. Hope everybody is having a fantastic night on this Wednesday night. It's a little chilly for me, but that being said, the Thunder tonight fell to the Phoenix Suns. What was it? I don't even know what the score was now. 130. What is it? 130, 130, 132, 101 or something like that. What was the score? Let me see. 132, 101. That was the score. So I don't really have it down in my books. I was trying to do other stuff because I didn't really watch, to be honest, I didn't really watch the fourth quarter because why would I? 101, 132. Because the Thunder started out, just gonna get my notes in there so I can put those in my notes later on. I did not watch the fourth quarter. I watched the beginning of it because the score was kind of close then, but I did not watch the end of the the middle or the end of the fourth quarter. The Thunder now have dropped to 31-35. Phoenix approved at 37 and 29. And remember, there was no SGA and no J-Dub tonight. We knew that SGA wasn't going to play because he's not going to be on back-to-back nights. And I think we have, 4 more back-to-back night games left in the Thunder's rotation here. But we are sitting at 31 wins. And remember, we were only supposed to win 23 and a half. So the Thunder are far exceeding what everybody thought they were. They're too short of what I predicted that they would be at 32. And then if they were playing the way I figured and hoped that they would play, they would end up at 40. So we're still 9 games short of what I predicted that we would be at their maximum. But that being said, we're at the point now where we can continue to grow as a team and get to be better. Bro, I'm doing the show right now. So, here's my boy. Here, you see this guy right here? That's my guy, Dave Blick, and his lovely friend. And I'm sorry that she is a red, or however they do that little nonsense. And by the way, they lost, and his team lost. He's a Sooner. They lost. And OSU, I've got 2 brooms now because we swept them 3 times. Do I get 3 brooms if we do them twice? I think that. Do I get 3 brooms, bro? I get 3 brooms, right?
I think the one reason you're putting me on the air is so I can't say something inappropriate.
Yes, that's it. Instead, I will text you. I will call you back after the game is over. We're not talking to you right now. Blah blah blah. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We're not talking to you right now. And that was Dave Blake. We're done with him right now because he's going for that loser school. So I've just cut him off. He's called me back because I teased him and his friend about being a Red Raider fan and him being an OU fan because they actually called me up before the game and was running their mouth. So I just had to shut them up on that. But anyway, getting back to the Thunder. Getting back to the Thunder tonight. The Thunder started out with Josh, Dort, Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, and Jay Will. And, I always like it when Wiggins starts because that gives us some sort of chance since we are 7-1, 8-2, or whatever it is, 7-2, whatever it is with him starting. I like that. And then, but when we start at the game, we just were not aggressive on defense to start the game. I mean, but it is a back-to-back night. We are young, so, you have to take all these things in consideration. And then, of course, Booker was just unstoppable tonight. I mean, he just had it made up in his mind. KD wasn't playing. They were not going to lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder, especially with SGA on the bench not playing. And then, of course, J-Dub not playing as well. So he was in full attack mode from the very outset and just decided that what he was going to do. And then, of course, Lou Dort playing it, going back to Phoenix. He played at Arizona State. He was trying to be all aggressive and look at me and look at when I scored. No, he was 1 for 7 and 0 for 3 at halftime. I mean, he's just, you cannot have him trying to be all world, trying to score. And I get it that he was at home and showing everybody, look how far I've come. No. no, that's not who you were there. It's not who you can be here. You need to do what you do, and that's play defense and hustle. That's what we need you to do. That's how you got your money. That's why the Thunder paid you. But now all of a sudden, they're letting you do something else, which, like I said, something that Thunder need to address. But I will say that the score was 8-20, and then you have Waters, uh, Jang, Joe, Sarch, and Dort in the game. And then what happened? Lindy Waters caught fire and was just blowing them up all over the place. And that's uh, when you had those guys in the game. And I'm just gonna say, you guys know how I feel about Lindy Waters. I think he's a great young man, but as far as shooting and stuff, this is the best I've ever seen him play for one half. But once again, he only did it for one half, and then once they decided to lock him down, it was over. It was over. So, but he did have a great first half, and the Thunder did fight back to get within because they were getting killed and getting blown out. But the Thunder did fight back in, and in the end of the first quarter, the Thunder were only down 13, largely to do with that second group and Lindy Waters. The Suns were 5 for 11 from three, 62% from the field, 12 rebounds, 16 pips, 4 turnovers. The OKC Thunder, on the other hand, were 4 for 11 with 28% from the field, 10 rebounds, 4 pips, and 6 turnovers. We're not a turnover team, and that's a telltale sign right there why we were losing and shooting 28%. One, we were just trying to launch up threes, and like I said, I don't have a problem with them shooting threes as long as it's when they shoot them and where they shoot them. Talking about the Thunder, and then of course the bench outscored the Suns 16-10, and like I said, largely to do with Lindy Waters and what he was doing coming off the bench. And then of course Sarge not played. He didn't do too bad himself. So that being said, there's not going to be a long talk today because it's simply, we got blown out. There was not a lot to talk about. Like I said, a back-to-back night, no SGA, no J-Dub. So two of your top three players were not playing. Josh was aggressive late and doing what he needed to do in the third, fourth quarter, but it was just a little too late. He did not come out firing and scoring right from the very beginning. And by the way, Josh, when you're going to the rack, learn how to dunk the basketball. You need to dunk more. You can't just lay it up there like you're going to have somebody. Got somebody beaten, you can just lay it up because some guys are hustling and they're trying to, remember, Phoenix is playing bench guys. They're playing their eighth, ninth, and 10th guys because Kevin Durant, they had to get rid of the other guys. So they're playing the end of their bench. The end of the bench is who they're playing. So these guys are hustling, trying to make a contract. So you got to understand who you're playing against. That being said, we start the second quarter with Lindy Waters, Jang, Mann, Josh, and Robinson Earl. It's good to see Robinson Earl back out there again. He has not played in a little bit. So, but anyway, the Thunder came out, and it was basically our bench against their bench. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. It was our bench versus their bench, and our bench is better than their bench because our bench plays a lot more. Because remember, those guys hardly got any time before KD got traded, and once KD got traded, now all of a sudden they're getting some time. But our bench is definitely better than their bench. And then, of course, what do we do? Fight back to make it 39-43 with 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And at that point, you knew he's like, okay, here comes their stars. Here comes Chris Paul. Here comes Booker. Here comes Ayton. Here comes everybody. And then, of course, we did counter. How about that? With Joe, Dort, Wiggins, Waters, and Jay Will. Josh on the bench. And guess what happened? Lindy Waters kept shooting the threes. He was knocking them down. He was 6 for 8 from three, 6 for 8 from the field, but 6 for 8 from three. He's the one that kept us in the game, including at the end, because I'm just like, I hate it when he plays zone. And I know Dort got in trouble, but when he goes to playing zone, I just hate it because once we start playing zone, then you take all the aggressiveness out of us defensively because we're standing around. That's the thing that I hate about when the Thunder go into zone, and it really didn't bother them too much at all. A little bit, but once again, Dort trying to do Dort things, attacking the basket, shooting air balls, getting his shot blocked, throwing the ball away, bouncing the ball off his. He gets in a hurry, and he just doesn't have the skill set. Now, does he play hard? 100%, but he does not have the skill set to do the things that he's trying to do. And I just want to say, no, Dort, stop it. Somebody's pull him, jerk, bring him out the game. Pull him out the game and sit him down. Somebody talk to him and say, "Hey, look, we're trying to win games. You cannot be just running up and down the court." Now, of course, this is his home court. This is where he went to school. So the Thunder were trying to honor him a little bit, but all he was doing was wasting possessions. But that being said, Lindy Waters kept us in the game, and he was knocking down threes, including he got lucky because there was 1 second left to go. We get the ball out of bounds, and he shoots one off the top of the backboard from the corner. And fortunately, he got fouled by Devin Booker and got 3 free throws, which allowed us to be down at half only by 8, which I was really, really pleased. Really, really pleased. God, I love that watermelon sweet tea. Anyway, so the Suns are up 60-52 at half. They are now 8 for 19 from three, 53% from the field, 22 rebounds, 20 pips, 9 turnovers. Us, on the other hand, we were 10 for 23 from three, and a lot of that, like I said, had to do with Lindy Waters going 6 for 8. I mean, he had 6 of our 10 threes. I mean, he was on fire. He was stroking it today. I've got to give it to him. But on the other side of that, in 17 minutes, Devin Booker had 30 points. He was just exploiting every opportunity. He had Lindy on him. He's exploiting. He'd have Wiggins on him. He'd exploit it. He'd have Isaiah Joe, and he's exploited. Every time they could take Dort off of him, he exploited that every single time, which is what great players do. Oklahoma City shooting 35% now, which was up from what we were. 20 rebounds, 14 pips, and 8 turnovers. So that was a huge thing for us. But anyway, 8 points for that. Thunder, 14 bench points. Oklahoma City, 40, which I was, a lot of, uh, a lot of that had to do with um, the fact that we are playing so well, and Lindy Waters had 21 points at half. And he had 21 of the 40 bench points, 6 of our 10 threes. I mean, I've got to take my hat off to him. He played really, really well. And of course, my guy Randy Wright of YNB sending me messages, and he has issues. Okay, he has issues. That's my boy. That's my roomie, but he has issues. He just loves to mess with me anytime he gets the opportunity. But that being said, let me take my hat off to Lindy Waters. He played really, really well the first half. He kept us in the game, kept us from being blown out, made some huge threes, including the 3-point, made all 3 free throws right before halftime to cut the lead down, which allowed us to stay in the game. So that being said, we're going to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, Collaborative Logic. Appreciate everything that they do to keep us up and running here on the show. And remember, if you have any needs for any computers or software to be written to make your office run smoother, or if you need a website design, websites, any software, what are written for those, they can do all that. They have that software that if you have a company that's in need, somebody can go in, look at your company, need to bid. They can bid it online to you, and you get all their information. So they have all kinds of things that are better. And plus, once you deal with them, they can remote in. They don't have to come into your office and disrupt your office. They can just remote in from their location and fix whatever. And I love when they do that for me. SRB and my guy Mark Long, if you have any engineering, surveying, or planning, he is the dude for that. Love when he does all the work that they do. Now, if you have anything that you need to be taken care of, if you need something, if you need to build an office complex, what they do is they make sure behind the scenes that the office complex runs smoothly, that there are no leaks, and that there's no drainage issues, the parking lots don't flood. All those are the things that they can provide there at SRB. So I love what they do for that. Oak Grove Trucking and my guy Jose Fierro, that's my dude. If you have any rocks that need or dirt to be moved, especially if you have a highway company or you know somebody that does, hey, give my boy a shout. And remember, he is a minority, so you get those benefits as well. And then, of course, Greg and Max Nafee, what they always do is take care of me and support everything that I do. So I appreciate what they do with that. And then, last but not least, YNB, family owned and operated since 1912. They are the bank that makes things happen. They're an equal housing lender, and they are a member of the FDIC. If you want to pre-qualify online, you can at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com. You can go in and pre-qualify online for any loans with them. And remember, they are a sponsor for us to go out and do remote live streams of minority, women, and black-owned businesses in the Oklahoma City area. And remember, Tuesday we were at George's Happy Hall. If you hadn't had barbecue there, you need to go by and check those guys out. And then, of course, Cutting Up Barbershop. And then we've also been to the Boot, which is a new sports bar down there on May in Reno. Love that place. Great. Go in and see my boys down there. And then, of course, we've been at Cat's Tavern. So, and we will be there more often once it warms up because we love being at Cat's and giving her some love. But if you want to go in, because YNB is a personal bank, and you can go in and see Joe Horn. You can go in and see Carson Wright. You can go in and see Nathan Taylor at the main bank at 401 M. Or if you're out there in the Yukon Parkway, you can go over to the Yukon Parkway and do that. And that's right off of 66th and Yukon Parkway. And that's, or I guess it's 66 or 39th Street, however you want to call it. But anyway, it's just right off that, right on the corner. You can't miss it. Then, of course, 218 North Mustang Road in Mustang, you got the YNB location there. The YNB Parkway, which is Garth Brooks and I-40 right there in front of the hospital. And then, of course, the bank that I go to is YNB Peoples, which is at it's 23rd, 6201, which is between MacArthur and Rockwell. That's the bank that I always go to. Makes it easier for me to get around and get over there. But that being said, here were my keys for the Thunder to start the game, because I just believe that, to get win here, you get off to a good start. We had to play great team defense, which we did. Neither one of those. We did move a little bit out without the ball, but did we play within our capabilities in the first half? No, we did not. So we're just hoping that you could play within your capabilities the second half, which of course the Thunder clearly did not do. So, but anyway, that's if we could do that the second half, that was going to make a huge difference for what we are trying to do. So starting the third quarter, the Thunder are down 52-60, and down 52-60, and we're starting with Josh, Lindy Waters, Dort, Joe, and Jay Will. And of course, here he goes, not going with your starters again. I thought he had learned his lesson about that. Use your starters, start with your third starters. You're trying to play Lindy Waters because it's hot hand. He ends up scoring 2 points the second half. Why? Just keep your rotation what your rotation is. I thought he had figured that out, but clearly not. You try to put Lindy in there. No. Anyway, my frustration with him is beyond frustration. But anyway, I love what Josh was trying to do. He came out early, got an N1 right off the bat, and then what happened? Not going with your starters, not being in rotation, not used to each other being out on the court, which is everything that I talked about last night. You have to be used to a certain group of guys and a certain deal. But of course, when you mess up the rotation, once again, our coach does that. Coach D messes up the rotation, and he just costs us 6 to 8 points every game because of what he does. Dude, start your You got your starters. Start your starters. Yes, Lindy's hot, coming off the bench, not starting. Anyway. So what ended up happening in the second half, they ran away with us in the third quarter. It was 63-79. He has Lindy Waters, Jang, Dort, Jay Will, and Josh in the game with 7 minutes to go. Okay, so you were down 8, and now all of a sudden you're down 16. You started the wrong rotation once again. It's the little things that matter. I don't know what our coaching staff thought. I mean, yes, Lindy was hot. Bring him back off the bench again. Do not try to start him. Don't mess up your rotation. If it ain't broke, why are you trying to fix it? Keep what you've been doing. Keep the flow. Keep everything rolling. And it's one of those things where you look at the Kings. Okay, let's take the Kings. When you look at the Kings this year, what's the difference between this year and last year? Coaching. They went out and got Mike Brown. And then all of a sudden, what's happened to Golden State? Their defense has gone in the tank because what? Mike Brown was in charge of defense. What's happened with the Kings? Their defense have gone up. What's also happened that because of him being a good coach that he is, he's allowed them to mature to take a team that was on the brink and take them to the next level. And they're now second in the West because the Grizzlies are just in a free fall because of everything that's going on with them. So it's about coaching. And I keep trying to say that over and over and over. It's about coaching. There's no way around it. Okay? You look at the Kings. You had to make a change. You were right there. And like I said, Coach Dagnon's done a great job of getting us where we are. But he is not going to be able to take us over the top. He's just not going to. You've got to make a move next year because you're bringing in Chet. Here's your perfect opportunity to get us a coach that can help mature and take us to another level. That's where we're at. That's what you should do. Now, whether he will do that or not, as in our general manager, our GM, whether he will do that or not, I probably doubt it, but that's just my theory. If the Thunder are going to make the jump, you got to put somebody in there that can help them make that jump because that's what all other teams do. You look at whatever team is coming, this is where you're at. If you want to make that jump in the West, clearly we have the big three, so we can do that. You've got SGA, you've got Josh coming on, you've got J Dub trying to make himself get to that level. Then you put Dort in his place, make him play defense. Then you got maybe Jang. You maybe have Chet. So then you maybe have some things coming in that you can make the team tighter and run more efficiently and do more things. But with the way you're doing it right now, you got to get you another coach. I'm just saying. He's done a great job of getting us to here. But if you want to take this team to the next level, he's not going to be the guy. He's just not going to be. Third quarter stats, the Suns 104 to 80. The Thunder scored 28 points in that third quarter. The Suns, however, scored 44 points in that third quarter. The Suns were 17 of 32 from three, 56% from the field, 38 rebounds with 34 pips and 14 turnovers. And when you look at them at halftime, they were 17 of 32. Oh, excuse me, that was third quarter. That's the wrong stats. I need my second quarter stats here. They were 8 for 19, sorry. And then now, of course, you look at them, what they are now. They were 9 for 14. They're 9 for 13 for the second quarter. 9 for 13. The Thunder, on the other hand, were 10 for 33. 10 for 23. So we were 3 for 7 in that second quarter, and had everything. Third quarter, which of course that meant we had started to cool off, and they had started to make their run and guard us more intensely on the defensive end. Thunder still only shooting 38%, 26 rebounds, 26 pips, 12 TOs. The Suns, however, look at that bench scoring by us. 49 points to the Suns 32. Now, remember, when you look at what we had at halftime we had 40 points at half. And we scored 9 points that third quarter. And why? Because the Suns decided to clop down on us. We started getting less and less careful with the basketball. We could not score because they locked us down. Lindy Waters, they made sure that he was not going to be rolling around free, getting a rhythm, knocking down wide open shots. They shut that down, which is what ended up happening to the Thunder in basically a nutshell. That's what happened. You got guys out there playing, and we were playing our bench. And let's face it, you got to play your bench back-to-backs this late in the season. SGA's not in there. J-Dub's not in there. The Thunder I think they had in their minds we were not trying to win this game. That's what I think. And I think that's why they had that's why Vegas had it at 13.5. They knew that the Thunder were going to, without SGA and J-Dub, you're not trying to win this game. You just weren't on a back-to-back night. So that means that our next game, we're going to come out and try to do something. So in the fourth quarter, you start Mann, Waters again, Butler, Robinson, Earl, and Sarr. And Sarr didn't do bad. I mean, but he's a 7-footer. He's just like last year. He's a 7-footer. He's going to be somebody who can kind of help alter shots. But other than that, I mean, he's not going to give you a whole lot, some alley-oop dunks. But his main purpose is on inside the paint. So that being said, the fourth quarter, like I said, I'm going to admit that I didn't really watch it because we were down. And I decided to watch the OU Bedlam basketball game, round number 3 for this year is what I decided to go ahead and do. So in the fourth quarter, there wasn't a lot to be said. I mean, it was a blowout. We had our B team going against their B team, and it was just a lot of up and downs and not a lot to talk about in that fourth quarter. And I knew it wasn't going to be, so that's why I just said, the hell with it. Let's just move on and let me watch OU and OSU. At halftime, the final score ended up being 132-101. The Suns improved to 37-29. The Thunder are now 31-35, and that just means that we had to have some help with teams losing that below us or right above us so that we can maintain where we were in 11th place. The Suns ended up being 15-43 from the field, from three, 52% field goal percentage, 55 rebounds, 44 pips, 16 turnovers. OKC, on the other hand, 20 for 43. And remember, most of that damage was done in the first half. 37% from the field, 37 rebounds, 36 points in the paint, 15 turnovers. And, of course, we outscored them 70-50 from as far as bench scoring, which means that the starters only scored 31 points. That doesn't happen very often, okay? That really, really doesn't. So when you look at box scoring, Jalen Williams playing 18 minutes tonight, 0 for 2, 0 for 2, with 2 points, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, with only 3 rebounds, but he did have 3 assists. Isaiah Joe in 19 minutes had 6 points, 1 for 6, 1 for 5, just really wasn't effective at all tonight. You look at Wiggins in 18 minutes, 8 points, 3 for 8, 0 for 2, just never got his legs going. And, of course, Josh Giddey, 23 minutes, 3 for 12. He just couldn't get, their length and stuff just bothered him a lot. They just were not allowing him to close, because Josh does his best when he's going to the lane and shooting that teardrop, which is so beautiful. Love the way he does that and executes that shot to perfection. Love the way he does that. Lou Dort, 20 minutes, he had 7 points, 2 for 9, 1 for 5. Just look at that. 0 rebounds, 0 assists. You just can't have that. 2 turnovers. You can't have that out of one of your starters. You can't do that. 2 for 9, 1 for 5, 2 for 2, 7 points. Sarge, 6 minutes, 3 points, 1 for 2, just wasn't effective at all tonight. Jeremiah Robinson Earl at 19 minutes had 8 points, 3 for 5, 0 for 1, with 7 rebounds. So it was good seeing him back out moving, even though he has not played well a couple of games, and did not mind not seeing him by sitting him the last couple. So I'm okay with that. Lindy Waters in 34 minutes, 7 for 14, 6 for 12 for 23 points. Great game by Lindy. He did all of that in the first half. Remember, he was 6 of 8 the first half, so he was 1 for 6 the second half. Excuse me, what was that? Yeah, well, he was, 6 for 8. He was 1 for 4. 2 for 4 the second half. That's what he was, sorry. 2 for 4 the second half. But he was 6 for 8. So that means he didn't score. He was 6 for 8, so he was 0 for 4 the second half from 3. And it's just one of those things. He had a great first half, but he's still a good kid, but he is a two-way player, and he is a G League player, and that's tends what happens when you get competition and they decide to clamp you down. That's the end of that, because he is a catch and shoot guy. He cannot take you off the bounce. Jang, 28 minutes. He had 12 points. He played okay, but once again, he's going to be up and down because he just does not get on the court that much. But he will, because K Will being hurt should help his bid to get into the top 9, 10 in the rotation next year for long term. Olivier Sarr, 12 minutes. He had 5 points. Trey Mann in 28 minutes, 14 points and 4 for 9, 2 for 5. But he did have 4 rebounds and 4 assists, so I can't complain about that. And then Butler came off the bench for 16 minutes. He had 5 points, going 2 for 3, 1 for 2 from the field. So that's basically what happened with the Thunder. And then, of course, you know how I always do, compare the first half to the second half. And you can see the Suns were 7 of 24 for the second half, and threes did a much better job on them defensively, holding them in the second half, but they just did what they want inside the paint. As you can see, they scored 24 points in the paint in the second half. OKC, however, in the second half were 10 for 20 from 3, which is the reason why we even stayed close because the bench guys came in there and were knocking down some threes, which really helped us. 35% from the field, you got to do better than that. But of course, you are on a back-to-back night playing with your bench players. You're just not going to. I mean, you can't ask more than you can ask out of them and what you got. We had 17 rebounds in the second half, but you look at points in the paint, 22 points in the paint, which I'll always take, and then of course 7 turnovers to their 7, so that we were equal in the second half. But look at that, 30 points from our bench, scoring 40 in the first half. But like I said, in NBA scores tonight, we don't know what happened yet between the Raptors and the Clippers. That game is still going on. And in fact, let me look up at it and see if I can get that score really quick. The Clippers are now up 100-85 with 5 minutes to go. In the second half, so it looks like the Clippers are going to get their W tonight. And this is the updated standings before the games tonight, so you can see that where everybody's at. The Clippers will stay in position where they are. The Thunder are where we are. The Pelicans are where they're going to, still be ahead of us. So, but anyway, we did not lose anything, but did not gain any ground, which is what I think we needed to do. And of course, in Big 12 scores tonight, as I alluded to earlier, Texas Tech lost to West Virginia, and West Virginia is a scary team. Kansas is going to have their hands completely full tomorrow against that West Virginia team. Us beating OU 57-49, we're going to have our hands full against Texas, because we are an up and down team when it comes to them. Sometimes we compete with them and we're right there, and sometimes we're not. But that being said, I'd much rather play Texas than Kansas tomorrow. And because of that win, I think we got into the NCAA round of 64. I'm hoping that should get us to 11th seed right there. But we shall see. But this was a must win for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And that being said, but the Thunder, this is what we've got coming up with our schedule in the next few games. We've got at New Orleans on Saturday, so we will fly back tonight, get tomorrow's rest, or I guess we'll travel tomorrow, and that will be your rest night Thursday night, and then of course travel to New Orleans on Friday, have that spend the night there, and then get that deal done. Hopefully get a W on with New Orleans. Of course, they won tonight, so we've got to get a win just to kind of close that gap with them. SGA will be playing. J-Dub will be playing, so we should hopefully be able to compete with them. And remember, we lost to a critical game, and I talked about that earlier in the year, or not too long ago, a critical game that we needed to beat them at home, and we should have got that W, and we just didn't get it done. So that, I said right there, that was going to be a critical loss for us, and I think it's going to come back to bite us. But we can get a chance to rectify that by going to New Orleans on Saturday and getting the W, and then, of course, turn around and play in San Antonio the next night. And we know that SGA probably won't play simply because he's not playing back-to-backs until his body is completely healed. The last thing we want to do is take a chance on him re-injuring himself, and then we're completely out of the playoff picture at that point. So anyway, that's what the Thunder have coming up in the next couple of games. And remember, we will be home Tuesday night against the Brooklyn Nets, which is a game that you've got to protect your home games. You've got to get your home games, as we've said before. So that being said, I'm hoping everybody's having a fantastic night. Everybody be safe driving, and if you have been drinking,